Rohan was a kind young boy. He had bright, curious eyes. He lived in a little white cottage. The cottage stood at the edge of a large green wood. Rohan loved these woods more than anything. Every day he would venture into them. He wanted to learn all their secrets. He felt happy among the tall trees. He loved the smell of pine needles. The woods were his special playground. His best friend in the whole world was Luna. Luna was a beautiful, wise owl. Her feathers were as white as fresh snow. Her eyes were big, round, and golden. She was not just any owl. Luna and Rohan understood each other perfectly. Rohan would talk to her in soft whispers. Luna would hoot gently in reply. It was as if they spoke a secret language, a language only they knew. They were always together on their adventures. Their days were filled with exploration. As soon as Rohan finished his morning jobs, he would call for Luna. She would be waiting in the big oak tree by his window. Together they would set off into the cool shade of the forest. They looked for interesting flowers. They watched busy squirrels. They followed the tracks of deer. Every little thing was an adventure for them. They were always very careful and quiet. Rohan and Luna were gentle with all creatures. They never picked flowers needlessly. They never frightened the little animals. The forest seemed to welcome them. The birds would sing their prettiest songs. The rabbits would hop close by. Rohan and Luna felt the forest was their friend. They promised to always look after it. It was a very important promise to them. One bright and sunny morning, Rohan and Luna went exploring. It was just like any other day, or so they thought. The birds were singing their cheeriest tunes. Little drops of dew still sparkled on the leaves. The air was fresh and sweet with the scent of wildflowers. Rohan hummed a little song. Luna glided silently from branch to branch above him. They were looking for a patch of wild strawberries. Suddenly, Luna let out a soft, questioning hoot. Who? She tilted her head. Her big eyes blinked slowly. She had heard something unusual. Rohan stopped humming his song. He stood very still and listened carefully. What could it be? It was not the usual rustle of leaves. It was not the chirping of a cricket. It was a sound he had never heard in the woods before. It was very faint. The sound was like tiny, delicate bells tinkling. It was a magical sort of sound. It seemed to call to them. It came from deep within the woods. It came from a part of the forest they had never explored. Rohan knew every path near his cottage, but this sound seemed to be further away. He looked at Luna. Luna looked back at him. Their eyes met with a shared excitement. This was something new. "Let's go and see, Luna," whispered Rohan. His heart began to beat a little faster. Adventure was surely waiting for them. Luna blinked her big round eyes once more. Then she gave a little nod with her head. She was ready for anything. She spread her white wings. She flew a short way ahead. Then she looked back as if to say, "Come on, Rohan, let's not waste any time." Rohan and Luna followed the enchanting, tinkling sound. It seemed to dance ahead of them. Sometimes it grew a little louder. Then it would fade away to a whisper. This made it quite tricky to follow. They pushed past ferns. They ducked under low branches. The woods grew thicker here. Sunlight found it hard to reach the forest floor. They felt a little bit like real explorers on a grand expedition. After a while, the tinkling sound seemed to stop altogether. "Oh dear," said Rohan softly. "Have we lost it, Luna?" He looked around. All he could see were trees and bushes. Luna, however, was a very clever owl. She flew up to the branch of a tall old oak tree. She peered down with her excellent eyesight. Then she hooted excitedly. "Hoo-hoo-hoo!" she called down to Rohan. She had spotted something very interesting indeed. Rohan hurried over to the base of the oak tree. He looked up at Luna. "What is it, Luna? What have you found?" he asked eagerly. Luna bobbed her head towards a thick curtain of dark green ivy. The ivy covered the side of a mossy bank. It looked just like any other part of the forest, but Luna seemed sure there was something special there. Rohan trusted Luna's keen senses completely. He reached out and gently pushed aside the heavy ivy leaves. And there it was, a narrow opening. It was a small path, almost hidden from view. It was a path they had never ever seen before. It looked very old and unused. Stones peeked out from under the moss. "Goodness me, Luna," Rohan exclaimed quietly. "A secret path. This must be where the sound was leading us." His heart thumped with curiosity and a touch of wonder. Rohan took a deep breath. He felt a thrill of excitement. He carefully pushed aside more of the thick ivy. He stepped onto the hidden path. Luna flew gracefully just ahead of him. Her white feathers were like a beacon in the dim light. The path was soft underfoot. It was covered with fallen leaves from many years. It twisted and turned, leading them deeper into the unknown part of the woods. It felt very mysterious. They walked for a little while. The air grew strangely still. The usual forest sounds faded away. Then Rohan saw a faint light ahead. It was a soft, warm glow. It was not like sunlight. It was something else entirely. "Look, Luna," he whispered. "What do you think that light could be?" Luna hooted softly. She seemed just as curious as Rohan. They quickened their pace, eager to see the source of the strange light. And then they saw it. It was the most amazing sight Rohan had ever seen. Standing in a small clearing was a huge, ancient tree. It was taller and wider than any tree in the whole forest. Its leaves were not just green. They shimmered with a beautiful golden light. The bark of the tree itself seemed to glow with a gentle, pearly sheen. It was like a tree from a dream. It pulsed with a quiet magic. In the massive trunk of this glowing tree, there was a small wooden door. It was a perfectly formed, rounded door. It had a little window shaped like a star, and it had a shiny brass doorknob. It looked exactly like a door from a fairy tale book. "Golly," whispered Rohan, his eyes wide with wonder. Luna landed on a branch nearby, looking just as astonished. This was surely a magical place. Inside the ancient heartwood, Rohan could feel a gentle tingle in the air around the glowing tree. It was a feeling of strong, kind magic. He looked at Luna. Her golden eyes were fixed on the little wooden door. Luna hooted very softly, a reassuring sound. She seemed to be telling Rohan that it was safe. She seemed to say, "It's all right, Rohan. Let's see what is inside. This magic feels good." He trusted her feeling completely. Taking another deep breath for courage, Rohan stepped forward. He reached out his hand towards the shiny brass doorknob. His fingers touched the cool metal. He turned the handle slowly. The small door opened with a gentle, welcoming creak. A warm, golden light spilled out from inside the tree. It was even brighter than the light outside. It felt very inviting and peaceful. Rohan felt a sense of calm wash over him. He peered inside. It was like a cozy, round room. The walls were made of smooth, polished wood. They curved upwards to a high ceiling. Soft moss grew in patches on the floor like a green carpet. In the very center of the room stood a kind-looking old woman. She had a gentle smile on her face. Her eyes were as blue and sparkling as dewdrops in the morning sun. Her long hair was the color of silver threads. She wore a robe of forest green. "Welcome, Rohan." "Welcome, Luna," the old woman said. Her voice was soft and musical. It sounded like leaves rustling in a gentle breeze, or like a quiet stream flowing over pebbles. "I am Alara, the guardian of this forest of Eldoria. I have been waiting for you both for a very long time." Rohan was so surprised he could hardly speak. Luna hooted softly as if greeting an old friend. How did she know their names? Section 6. The Sorcerer's Shadow, a Forest in Peril. Alara, the guardian, smiled at them, but her eyes held a deep sadness. "Our beautiful forest of Eldoria is in grave danger," she explained. Her voice was tinged with worry. "A dark sorcerer whose name is Morwen has come to our lands. She's very powerful and very cruel. Morwen has cast a terrible, wicked spell over the entire forest. She wants to steal all of its precious magic for herself. Look around you when you next walk in the woods," Alara continued, her voice trembling slightly. "You will see the trees are starting to droop and wither. Their leaves are losing their vibrant green. The colorful flowers are fading. Their petals are falling too soon. The little animals are scared and hiding. They can feel the darkness spreading. Soon, all life and joy will fade from Eldoria if this evil spell is not broken. It is a very wicked thing she is doing. Alara looked at Rohan with kind, hopeful eyes. Then she looked at Luna, perched on a nearby root. You, Rohan, have a brave and kind heart. You love this forest dearly. And Luna, you are full of wisdom and keen sight. Only those with pure hearts and a love for nature can break Morwyn's dark magic. That is why you were led here today. Will you help us save our home? Alara asked them, her voice full of pleading. Rohan did not hesitate for a moment. He thought of all the happy days he had spent in the woods. He thought of the birds, the animals, and the beautiful trees. Yes, of course we will help, he said bravely. Luna hooted loudly, flapping her wings in agreement. She was ready for the challenge too. Please tell us what we need to do, Alara, Rohan added. He felt a new surge of courage. He would not let Morwen destroy their beloved forest. Section 7. The quest begins. New friends and first success. Alara's face brightened with relief at Rohan's brave words. Thank you, dear children, she said warmly. To break Morwen's spell, you must gather 3 very special magical things. These ingredients will create a potion of light. This potion will banish the darkness. She then explained what they needed to find. First, you must find a moon petal flower. It is a rare flower that blooms only in the light of the full moon by the Silver Stream River. Next, Alara continued, you will need a single shimmering scale from a river gleam fish. These fish are very shy and live in the clearest, deepest parts of the Silver Stream. And lastly, you must find a sunstone. It is a special crystal that glows with the warmth of the sun. It can only be found in the Whispering Caves far to the north. She warned them, the journey will be long. It might have some dangers, but you will not be alone. The forest itself will guide you, and you will make new friends to help you on your way. So Rohan and Luna set off on their important quest. Their first task was to find the moon petal flower. They traveled towards the Silver Stream River, following Alara's directions. The forest already seemed a little sadder. The bird song was quieter. On their way, they met a family of cheerful, chattering squirrels. The squirrels were very friendly. They offered Rohan some tasty nuts and berries. When Rohan explained their quest, the squirrels knew just where the moon petals grew. They led them to a hidden, mossy grove. That night, a big, round, full moon shone brightly in the sky. Rohan and Luna waited patiently in the secret grove. And then, magic happened. Beautiful, silvery white flowers began to open. They were the moon petals. They glowed with a soft, gentle light, just like tiny moons. Rohan carefully picked one perfect flower. Its petals felt like cool silk against his fingers. We have it, Luna, he whispered happily. They thanked the helpful squirrels with all their hearts. They had their first ingredient. Section 8. Trials, Teamwork, and Triumph, Gathering the Magic. Their next task was to find a scale from a river gleam fish. This proved to be a bit more difficult. They reached the Silver Stream River. The water was clear, but the river gleam fish were very shy. They stayed hidden in the deepest pools. Rohan tried calling to them softly. Luna watched patiently from a branch, but the fish would not show themselves. Rohan began to feel a little discouraged. How would they get a scale? Just then, a sleek, whiskered head popped out of the water. It was a friendly otter named Oliver. He had been watching them. Hello there, chattered Oliver. Are you looking for the river gleam fish? Rohan explained their important quest to save the forest. Oliver was a kind otter. He knew the river gleam fish well. I can help you, he said. He dived gracefully into the clear water. He was a very fast swimmer. Soon he returned with a tiny, shimmering scale. The river gleam fish had happily given it for the good cause. Rohan and Luna thanked Oliver with big smiles. Teamwork was wonderful. The final ingredient was the sunstone from the Whispering Caves. These caves were far away. They were known to be dark and a little bit spooky. Rohan felt a flutter of nervousness, but he remembered Alara's words about being brave. Luna, with her excellent night vision, led the way into the dim caves. She hooted softly to guide Rohan. Deep inside, they found a chamber. It was filled with glowing crystals. They were the sunstones. Rohan chose the brightest, warmest one. He held it tight. He felt very brave and proud. With all 3 magical ingredients carefully packed, Rohan and Luna hurried back to the glowing tree. Ilara was overjoyed to see them. "You have done wonderfully," she cried. She took the moon petal, the river gleam scale, and the sunstone. She placed them in a special carved wooden bowl. She began to chant ancient words of power. The words were soft but strong. A brilliant, pure light suddenly burst from the bowl. It shot up like a star high above the trees. It spread throughout the entire forest of Eldoria. Morwen's dark spell shattered into a million tiny pieces like fragile glass. Section 9, Guardians of Greenhaven, A Legacy of Love. As soon as the bright light touched the forest, a wonderful change began. The drooping trees straightened up. Their leaves turned a vibrant, healthy green. The flowers in the meadows lifted their heads. They burst into a rainbow of beautiful colors. The birds began to sing their loudest, happiest songs. Squirrels chattered and rabbits hopped playfully. Sunlight streamed down through the leaves, making everything sparkle. The dark shadows were gone. The forest of Eldoria was saved. Morwen's evil power had vanished completely. Ilara, the guardian, turned to Rohan and Luna. Her eyes were shining with tears of joy. "You did it, Rohan! You did it, Luna!" she exclaimed, her voice full of happiness and pride. "Your wonderful bravery, your kind hearts, and your teamwork have saved our precious home. You are true heroes of the forest." All the creatures of Eldoria gathered around the glowing tree. They chirped, chattered, and hooted their thanks. They cheered loudly for Rohan and his wise owl friend Luna. It was a joyful celebration. From that day forward, Rohan and Luna were known far and wide. They became the special guardians of Greenhaven. That was the new, hopeful name given to their part of the beloved forest. They continued to visit Ilara in the glowing tree often. They played with their many animal friends. They always watched over the trees and creatures. They made sure the forest remained healthy and happy. They were its protectors and its dearest friends. And so, the magical adventures of Rohan and Luna became a cherished story. It was told to all young creatures and children in the land. They taught everyone a very important lesson. They showed that even if you are young or small, you can do great and wonderful things. With courage in your heart, with friends by your side, and with a deep love for nature, you can make the world a much better, more magical place for everyone to share. And that is the best magic of all.